Hello, everyone. We are going to start in just a minute. We're just Twitter is bugging us, and we're having some technical difficulties.
Hello. Can you hear me? Sorry about this, everyone. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll get started in one moment.
Okay. While we wait till everyone comes
Sorry, I
on the
apologize
panel,
again,
how is everyone doing today?
We got rugged there for a little bit.
Slowly getting everyone on.
It is working.
We just brought on
So,
Dan.
We are about
We
to
have
get
Drip
started. I hope
Bits,
you all are doing
Inverted,
well today.
Zoko, KuCoin just jumped on. A few more minutes and we'll have this settled.
We're waiting for our host.
Hey, I just want to say thank you for being the silver lining to my day. Excited for this.
Zoko, how are you doing today?
We're so glad to have you guys here. Sorry about getting the rough start to everything. So let's see here. Let me get Henry the Grape up here. All right. So Dan, Drip Bits, how you all doing?
Doing well, thank you. Well, doing well in light of everything that happened in the past 24 to 48 hours.
It's been a little brutal, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing, man. I'm doing well, all things considered, for sure.
We have our health. We're alive. We're in this space, so I guess things could be worse. But
amen to that. That's some days you just got to ignore the charts, right?
Yeah, you got to focus on the little things in life sometimes. I just made some chocolate chip cookies and listened to the rain yesterday and just tried to forget about everything, and I had a lovely evening.
Nothing better than the fresh smell of cookies and rain.
I think it's also a good times like this to really, just be positive and try to support each other as much as possible, because, you never know what the guy next to you is going through, and it's important to be empathetic and compassionate to people in this space, for sure. Not to sound like a, Mr. Positivity guy, but I think in order to progress forward with things, we always have to be considerate of others.
Hope everything is okay now. We had some tech difficulties. I hope that I haven't interrupted anyone during their sentence. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, and good day to all of you guys who are today with us. So this is just one of the first SuperSpaces that we at NFT Go will be hosting in the next month until the 30th of November, even though our campaign lasts until the 25th. So first of all, let me give you a brief introduction of who we guys are and what we're doing. I'm Mary. I'm a growth and community lead at NFT Go, and we'll be hosting these Wednesday SuperSpaces as always. So first thing you gotta know about NFT Go is that we got launched as a data aggregator last August. And in less than a year, we have released over 20 features, tools, including the aggregator, which was released recently, watch lists, we released developers API, and the main goal is actually to keep challenging ourselves to build better products, to add value to users within this whole huge NFT ecosystem. So we are super excited to announce that our new branding is brought to you through the revamp of our new version. It showcases our ambition to be users' entry gateway to NFT, where we redefine the NFT experience, then to analytics, trade, and finally portfolio management. So to celebrate this milestone with our community, NFT Go is actually launching a loyalty program where all test campaign participants can join after completing certain test tasks. By joining our loyalty program, members will be eligible for exclusive giveaways, campaigns, and airdrops held by NFT Go and our partners. I don't know, have I missed something about us? I think I haven't. But just to be sure to say that tonight we will be speaking about future of NFTs. And we all know that, I think the past 24 hours have been crazy in crypto as well as in NFTs as well. And we got some really amazing guests with us tonight, starting from Dan Tren, our BD, KuCoin, guys from CyberKongs, Zoko, Drip Bits, etc. So we can slowly kick it off, I think. And first, we can start with giving our guests the opportunity to introduce themselves. But before I say one more thing, before you guys start introducing yourself, none of this is financial advice. You should take your cup of coffee, cup of tea, and do your own research and go to nftgo.io for your daily dose of analytics. So, guys, we can slowly kick it off. You can start one by one introducing yourself, but maybe we can hit off with Dan. He's our BD, and Dan, please tell us something about your journey and how did you landed in NFT world and with NFT Go and what you actually are working on now.
Hey guys, I'm head of business at NFT Go. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to participate in this really awesome Twitter space. I guess how I first got into crypto was through a game, Magic the Gathering. Played Magic the Gathering as like a kid with my friends. Had all these like cards growing up, and then as an adult, found out that they were eventually worth something. And I went on this site called Magic the Gathering Online Exchange, mtgox.com, to buy and sell Magic the Gathering cards. And then was able to make some money off of it. And then all of a sudden that site shut down for about a month, and then it came back online as like a Bitcoin marketplace. And that was my first introduction to what Bitcoin was. And that, bought some Bitcoin there. It was educated myself on what the hell Bitcoin was. And so my friends and I had a bunch of Bitcoin on that site, and then that site eventually got hacked. I was like, wow, this is really crazy. How do I get my money back? And eventually realized that like all that money was lost forever. And that was kind of like my first introduction to being rug pulled by Mt. Gox. And I guess like how I first got introduced to like NFT Go, I went to Stanford as an undergrad, was part of this entrepreneurship organization. And was doing stuff in Web 2 and Web 3, and really wanted to know what's going on with the NFT world. Met the co-founders of NFT Go through this Stanford Entrepreneurship Club, and thought it was really cool. And so I decided to join as their head of BD, and that's it.
And now you're slowly ruling, and we're super grateful for that. Qcoin, please do introduce yourself. Who is behind?
Okay, this is Joy. I'm actually on behalf of the KuCoin wallet, and good morning and good evening to everyone on this call. And just a brief introduction of KuCoin wallet, and maybe some of you are not familiar with this brand. KuCoin wallet is the official wallet of KuCoin with over 10 million active users worldwide. KuCoin wallet aims to build a secure, user-friendly, and professional wallet with the support of KuCoin ecosystem. And you can always benefit from the powerful ecosystem consisting of KuCoin, KuCoin wallet, KuCoin community chain, Win-Win, and KuCoin pool. And currently, you can download KuCoin Wallet app from the Google or Apple Store, and we are ready to do an in-app extension with any dApps, and we are pretty free, and that's free collaboration, and we are very open to the options of collaboration. And I'm very glad to sit on this call with all these great guests. We have a all-star team today, and really look forward to the end.
Thanks, Joy. Okay, so we have now Dripbits with us. He's an artist, Jen, art coder, creator, consultant, but I'll let you introduce yourself a little bit better for us.
Hey, thanks so much. Thank you again for having me. Good evening and good morning, everybody. My name is Dripbits. I've been an artist for about 25 years. I work in a bunch of different mediums. I've been a guitar player since I was 13 and been doing digital art since I was young and street art. So I ended up in NFTs just because I'm an artist, actually. So I had a little bit of background in programming and tech stuff, and I kind of found crypto a long time ago and dabbled with it, but not really too much, because I always kind of had my head somewhere else with art stuff or buried with some other stuff. So it was hard for me to really give any attention. And when I saw the potential for artists to come to this space to do something, I thought it was really wonderful. And I saw an opportunity for me because I have been an artist and a coder, and I've been in this kind of lifestyle for a long time. So I saw a good chance to do something fun and unique. And when I came here and saw the community that was built around it, and the art and the way people were treating each other and constantly trying to lift each other up, it gave me a good reason to stick around. So here I am, and I kind of stumbled across NFT Go. I want to say last October, September-ish, started using it, and then somehow got in a conversation with you guys and been lucky enough to link up and watch your journey and watch you guys grow into something awesome. Because when I first came around, looking through stuff, there was no one that had a UI like you guys had. There's no one that was doing it like you guys, where you guys really had a nice setup. And I'm not really into brown nosing or kissing anyone's behind, but the way you guys have it laid out and what you're doing, I think is something special, and especially for the fact that you weren't looking to monetize off of what you were doing immediately by like trying to charge a monthly subscription fee or anything like that. I think is speaks volumes as to what you're trying to do with the community and the technology.
Thanks, Drip, for these kind words. I guess that as an artist, you've been hit hard with all these royalties topics that's been around for a while. And actually, an OpenSea posted a interesting tweet like a few hours ago. So we're definitely going to be talking about royalties tonight as well. Next, we have guys from Outland, which are fostering critical conversations around emerging digital technologies, plus their connections to contemporary art. So, Outland, please give us more information about your project, who you are, and how did you start with it?
Hello everyone. My name is Jason, co-founder of Outland Art. So we are a editorial and launchpad platform that works mostly with traditional artists who are quite established in the traditional art world. And we work with them on their NFT project from technological support and marketing perspective. So since the start of this year, we have launched 5 projects. Our upcoming projects with artist Leo Villarreal scheduled in 3 weeks from now. He has done a Art Blocks project previously earlier this year, and there you can find more information on our website, Outland Art. Hope everyone have a great day today, even though it's quite brutal today for the crypto world, but hope everyone's okay.
Yeah, it's been really crazy. I think the past 24 hours have been full of ups and downs, and I'd like just to say to all of people who are in crypto, take care of yourself at first place and take care of your mental health, and everything will come into place. And we'll also speak a little bit about what's going on in crypto as well. So we have here Inverted and Henry the Grape, the guys behind CyberKongs. One of the best projects definitely in NFT space, and I'll let you guys introduce yourself. Question is the same for both of you, so please do take your time.
Yeah, no, thank you for having us. I'm Henry the Grape. I'm the community manager of CyberKongs, also on the Council of Kongs, and there's a lot of people that aren't familiar with us. There's a lot of people that are, but kind of an OG project that minted in March of 2021. And really, I think maybe what people know us for is sort of blockchain, I don't want to say nerds, innovators. We really like to play with the tech. We've done some really cool things with the tech. Some of that we can maybe get into later, but we have a few different collections, and our VX Kongs are one of, if not the most interoperable asset on the blockchain right now. So we're obviously proud of that. Super happy to be here, and thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming in, Inverted. Floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. Just again, thank you everyone for being here. Inverted, Council of Kongs. Focus mostly on marketing and experiential side, IRL events, experiences, things like that. A little bit on my crypto background. Started back in 2017 with Crypto Kitties. And kind of funny note to what Dan had said in regards to Magic the Gathering. That's actually what I started kind of, we'll say, just trading on. Was going to like the local tournaments, with a binder of cards at $100 and walking out with a bigger binder and $300. So I can definitely resonate with, that kind of mentality there and how that, spurred to where we are today. But, I have 12 years experience in the events world. So working on corporate events, everything from Super Bowls to, local events to state fairs, kind of just connecting typically like corporate messages to more of the individual users. So, in crypto, using it in the kind of reverse brand building has been a lot of fun. But again, thank you for having us here.
Thank you all for hopping on. So slowly, I think we can kick it off actually with this thing with royalties that's been happening. He has just posted like 2 hours ago is that they said we will continue to enforce creator fees on all existing collections. So what does that mean for you? And then in general, when we speak about royalties, I would like to hear your opinion about it. And do you think that's the only monetization model that projects should have? And how actually are royalties reflecting on the sustainability of the projects? You can just raise your hand. It's an open panel, or just kick it off with any comments you guys have.
Okay. If you're opening it up, then I'll go. Why not? CyberKongz, when our royalties were relatively low, 2.5%, recently changed to 5%. I think we recognize that, creator fees, royalties it cannot be the only revenue stream for a project. There's certainly something that projects relied on. And of course, the funds help if you have not had an insane amount of volume. Think of projects coming out now, or maybe projects that have been out for a few months. They rely on those creator fees, to kind of propel them. So we obviously, as some of us are trying to grow into brands, we have to find other ways to be able to bring in revenue. But we have to adapt, because while OpenSea, luckily changed their position today, let's be real, it's going to be like this cat and mouse game. So I think we need to just be prepared that this is something that some people will be willing to pay, and others will look to save that, 5 to 10% on a buy or on a sell. And we just have to to a certain degree, we have to accept it, as crappy as that is to say. I just think it will continue to be this game.
And just to follow up on that real quick, I think the idea of having an only Web3 based income model is the future for some projects, but definitely not the majority. I think, Web3 is in reality a layer of overall business, right? Even if not everyone knows it yet. So I think once we can, get to that point, it'll be a lot easier for just we all talk about the bridge between Web 2 and Web 3 and how that exists. But I think, there's obviously everything IP based, from content to merchandise to, endless lists that we've been through. I'm sure everybody's heard, so I won't go through it. But, I think those are obviously some obvious ones as well.
Just one thing that we forgot is to give a shout out to MFers. We are waiting for KML, Kevin, to join in as well as the guys from the Anson. Before we continue, Dripbits. I guess that you, as an artist, as someone who entered the space as an artist and start searching for an art in the space, were severely hit by this royalties, changes in the space. What's your comment on that one?
I think with this space, a lot of things are like used as marketing tactics. And to me, like the whole royalties to zero thing was just another quick thing to get people's attention. But then it actually started to spiral up a little. And like Henry and Inverted were saying, you can't really, you can't expect to build a model off of something if you don't really know the complete long-term outcome. But the reason that so many artists find it so interesting to come to this space is because they have the opportunity to not have someone take their art and make money off their art continually while they only made the initial payment or the initial fee of the first sale. And I think, for a one-to-one artist, I think taking away a royalty really isn't really doing anyone any good, because it's, those artists aren't going to want to keep creating if they're getting a smaller fee for something. Like for instance, these guys who sell stuff for like 0.03 or 0.04 out the door, like, you're getting a piece of artwork for initially like, somewhere in the vicinity of like $50. And for you to take that and to keep flipping it and make money off it, and so that artist gets huge and that money doesn't, come back to the artist, you're not really allowing them to build a business off of their artwork. Like, there are artists that like where I'm from, there's this artist who I'm sure a lot of people know. His name's Shepard Fairey. He's made the Obey brand. He's a huge artist, right? He started in my state when I was young. His stickers are everywhere. Now, like, for him, he makes a big piece of art and it goes and it resells. Someone buys it and it resells. He doesn't ever see any of that back money to help build his brand. And his brand has gotten huge. Like, it's massive. Now, if he was selling all stuff like NFTs and he kept seeing money come back in, then he'd have the opportunity to build his brand bigger and branch out and do other things. And I think that's something that makes this space particularly special for artists and creators, is the ability to not turn yourself into a brand, but turn yourself into like a full-blown business where you can actually hire people and like have like your own ecosystem and have your own things moving, where, a lot of times in this space it's blown up because you can only go one way or another, or it's merch, or it's this, or it's that. And like, people get bored because there's a million of the same thing happening over and over and over again. And like, I understand that from a point of view, but from another point of view and like reality, like, how many things can you do before you've used up every idea? And right now we're at this point where we've seen so many collections try to pull out these ideas, to make these things happen, and either rug pull, or they don't follow through, or they take too long and people lose interest and they don't go back to it. Like, trying to stop royalties from going to a creator, whether it's a guy like me or a project, I just don't think it's the smartest idea as far as like longevity. But on the same side, you have to be able to be adaptable. So like, there's no really right or wrong answer with it, and there's no real like, there's no way to fix it other than to just see how it plays out. And like, the people who genuinely give a crap about artists and creators are going to continue to pay those fees.
Couldn't
Sorry, I get a
agree
little
more.
long-winded sometimes.
No problem. I see AJ in the audience. AJ, if you're up for joining the space, please do send request. Outland, same question goes for you guys. How do you see the royalty issue at the moment?
I mean, I agree with all the previous speakers. It's a hard situation, even though OpenSea luckily changed their previous strategy today, stick on keeping royalty for previous collections. I think it's something need to be discussed furthermore, but at the same time, we advise artists who are going to release projects from now on to adapt to the market, because sometimes markets is always right in a sense. So you just have to have the right strategy to adapt. So things like keeping a larger percentage of your work as reserve, or even for previous projects you have released, just buy back, because right now is relatively a bearish market. You can buy them back lower. To have that reserve in your collection just for future resale opportunity. But again, they might run into the situation where the collectors are like, why are you selling your own work? But what it is at the moment, that's something we will strongly advise artists to adapt. But at the same time, we will keep talking to collectors, let them know royalty is a very important part of artists joining this space. But obviously, I think from another perspective, projects have to be transparent. They have to be responsible about what they have promised to the collectors and the community. Because I think a lot of the rug pull projects really ruined people's passion to pay royalties.
Yeah, this is actually one of the things that our previous guests from X2Y2 was talking about. That the idea behind of them enforcing this royalty rule was to stop the rug projects, popping up. But I think that's something that cannot be stopped that easily, because projects will be popping and they can just cash grab and go away. They don't have to live from the royalties. They can just take the mint money and then just disappear. Henry, do you maybe have something to add up on Outland then?
Yeah, I love the comments, because like this is a really cool conversation to have with people across the Web3 spectrum, right? Like artists, exchanges, projects, all different elements of Web3. And so like to hear that was an explanation as to why these marketplaces were popping up. It's interesting because in my mind I'm like, okay, so like to allow not paying a creator fee avoids a rug pull. In my mind, I'm like rug pulls are sometimes just hard to recognize. I don't know how exactly taking royalty fees away or creator fees prevents the rug pull, because people are still degen trading if they're degen trading on something that they're speculating. But in essence, what it's allowed is for the exchanges and marketplaces specifically to thrive. Like, make no mistake, none of them are losing out in this battle. They can act like poor projects. What can we do to help them? But we're still making our fee. Like, we're still good. They're not thinking of anything like, okay, we realize there's no way around this, but what we can do is up our fee, and then we're going to give a percentage of that back to the project. They're not thinking of any real ways to help us. So do you know the way that we fight back against this, if we want to, is we either go to exchanges that have royalty fees or creator fees, like DripBit said, or somebody's going to create an exchange somehow with a very, very low marketplace fee, very low, but it will have creator fees. And I think the space, because ultimately, like on X2Y2, let's say, you're still paying a bit of a fee. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, so if you're not paying from a seller or a buyer, if you're not paying the marketplace fee and you're paying the creator fee is very similar. I just think at some point we're going to realize, like, yeah, well, the marketplaces are still making their money, so let's not feel super bad for the plight of the marketplaces. Let's figure out ways, if we can, to try to not make it, but at least to support projects, at least quality ones, and artists that we believe in. Like, as an art collector, I would never go behind the artist's back personally and avoid that fee. I feel like that's part of what I bought into, is that idea. So I feel like as a community, we have some say in this, and we can help change the culture by educating. But also realizing, like, yeah, everything everybody said here was amazing, and we have to find, as projects, other revenue streams. But take DripBits as a creator, like, your revenue stream is kind of like your work, and if that work is being traded without crediting you and ultimately paying you, your creator fee, it's not the easiest thing for an artist to be able to do that versus a brand / project. Okay, I'll shut up. Thank you.
Thank you, man. This was really really great comment on everything. You can like take all the time in the world that you need just to say your opinion. It's interesting, I would like to reflect, because my background is from production world, and I worked a lot in galleries. I even had one of my own. And what I think that most people in Web3 does not understand, that fees in traditional galleries, when you're buying like a piece of art, they're like much higher. And you can actually never, find, well, with some like super exclusive art, art, you can like track down the owners. But, in modern world with digital art, it's super hard to find it. And I'm actually having a lot of troubles, onboarding a lot of my friends that are artists, because they do not understand like how fees work. Are they going to get paid or not? And this is, I think, one of the basic problems why we don't see much art on the market today, because according to NFT Go, when you go to our market overview and then you scroll down, you will be able to see category market caps. And then when you see the art, you will see that there's only like 700 plus K ETH invested in art as such, which is not a lot, I would say, in comparison to PFPs, which have like 5 million of ETH invested in them. And I see that as a problem because a lot of digital artists who are really great artists do not believe in blockchain yet, and they do not believe in the system as such. One of the close examples that I have is that one of my friends who is really established artist got his art stolen and sold on OpenSea. It was sold in total for around 50 to 70K or something like that. So now he's having this lawsuit with OpenSea because they haven't like protected his work. They haven't did like literally the reverse image search before they let this collection go up. And I think that's also like a huge problem. But as we're speaking, I'm reading the tweet from LuxRare, and they say when you sell an NFT on LuxRare, you pay a 2% fee. 75% of that goes to Lux stakers and 25% goes to creators. So you then get trading reward, which act as a refund and typically covers 90% of the fee you paid. Dan, you just recently spoke on SEAT, South Asia Technology Conference, about the future of NFTs, and I guess that you were talking a little bit about royalties. Can you share your opinion on this?
Sure. The discourse so far has been from the perspective of the creators, from the projects, and then Henry kind of talked about the perspective of like the marketplaces. But there's another perspective we haven't touched upon, which is the traders, the NFT traders. There's two flavors of traders. There's like the once in a while collectors, the ones that buy an NFT every now and then and sit on them and hold them for a really long time and maybe use them to get into some parties as keys. Paying like an 8% royalty fee isn't that discouraging, but most of the volume in NFTs actually come from people who are trading regularly, and those fees actually do add up. Now, I'm just playing devil's advocate because I do agree with everyone perspective on like, yes, we need royalty fees to encourage creators to be a part of this great ecosystem. But what about from the perspective of someone who is flipping NFTs or trading NFTs who are on NFT Go or XY2 regularly, who are making most of this volume? Where do they fit into all of this? Like, do you guys have a perspective on that? Because me personally, yeah, it affects us, and that's we're firmly in a bear market, and that's kind of the reason why a lot of these marketplaces are going down this route.
That to me is exactly, you're 100% right. Like that Wall Street Kongs, one of our channels in Kongs, is like it's DGen Central. That's part of our ecosystem, is exactly those kind of traders that make up. I mean, they're doing sweeps of 50, 100 of something. You're absolutely right, which is why, to me, ultimately, this cat and mouse game will continue to exist. And so maybe, when I say to my point, maybe somebody's spinning up something that, again, doesn't pay market, has very, very low marketplace fees, like virtually none, which I realize, why would they do that? Well, there are some people that are willing to make enough money for the good of the space. Just like, hey, if I'm making 0.25% on transactions, whatever, we need volume, of course, but that there's at least a competitive creator fee that on that platform you're going to get as a creator. If it's 2%, it's 2%. If it's 2.5%, it's 2.5%. It's lower than 10. By the way, CyberKong survived on 2.5% for over 18 months. So like, it does bring in some revenue. And so at least something is better than nothing, because right now projects you're almost faced right now with like, whatever you get is what you get, because you can't control where people are doing their trading. So, well, maybe according to OpenSea, maybe we can with some protocols, that'll be interesting to see where that goes. especially with new contracts. But yeah, great point. Honestly, great point. I love the discourse happening here. It's really good, fun Web3 talk.
Outland, are you here, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I think right now, I agree with guys from CyberCon. We have to figure out ways outside of Web3 to generate revenue as a project, because the general market, let alone crypto market, the general economy, like it's still deep in the bottom as of now, and we cannot estimate when everything's getting better. So projects have to be creative, but at the same time, we have to keep building with our team, communicating with the community. I think the best strategy is always the discussion between team and community, which I think after understanding different perspectives from each other, certain solutions can work. But again, this is a confirmed bear market, so we have to keep that on mind on making any further decisions.
Agreed. KuCoin. So you guys have a whole section on your website related to the NFTs. You have fractional NFTs, Wonderland, and Windvan. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? And what's your perspective on the royalties?
Of course. So I was actually, excuse me, I was actually the BD for Win NFT marketplace that is fully powered by KuCoin. And due to the bearish market, we kind of have paused all the collaboration with the NFT projects. And so right now I'm actually working for the KuCoin wallet. And for me personally, I think it's actually I have two perspectives, because at the moment I'm working for KuCoin, and at the same moment I'm also like an individual artist, and I actually just listed some of my arts on OpenSea yesterday. And so the royalty fee for me is actually kind of contradictory from the NFT market perspective. We definitely would like to take more like commission fee or royalty fee. It just boosts the whole ecosystem of NFT marketplace. So we can also try to allocate more like marketing resources to the projects that we are working with. But from the individual artist perspective, I definitely don't know, like, because like most other like guests have mentioned that from the individual artist or from the project's view, they have to adapt. And we kind of have to adjust ourselves to the policy, and it might be changing all the time, especially during this bearish market. And I do wish like someone just like one of the guests mentioned that there may be like a new NFT marketplace that just very like helpful, very supportive to the individual projects and artists who might not have too much sense about like how the fees is divided into like different sections, and if they would get a refund from that. Because for many of the individual artists, also I have some friends from this section, and for us it's might like an additional revenue during this time, because the whole economic is not performing well. So for us, we just want to make some revenue from making some arts. So if the royalty goes up, we might just accordingly to like raise our price for each unit. And yeah, just very curious about like, because the whole crypto world just changes so fast, and everything just happens so fast, and there's so many news, and it might just impact everyone from different perspective. I'm very curious about like how it's going to be like in the short future.
Yeah, some of the marketplaces have even higher royalty fees because they're more art related, and I think that they deserve a lot of support from the community, but just that the art community still haven't discovered them. and that's something like on them. They need to work more on their marketing, and I think the education from all of us is essential, to get more people onboarded and to have all this sorted. And when speaking of everything about NFTs, and all of you mentioned like the bear market as such. So I will speak now on behalf of Mary, not on the behalf of NFT Go in total, but my personal opinion on the bear market is that there is no bear market, and I would like to hear your opinion on why do you think that there is bear market. But I would first evaluate why I think there is no such thing. We entered the phase, we had like this huge hype, as we call it, like the bull market, and a lot of people got onboarded, a lot of people got wrecked, a lot of liquidity went out of the market, and we just saw that there are a lot of young people joining in the space, a lot of young creators and artists as such. But I wouldn't say that we are in the bear market. I would say that we are in as I like to call it, like this smart market, where people are just, relaxed, building what they need to build. Like there's a lot of Web3 gaming projects that are building games, and games need time to get built. A lot of people are building within their metaverses, and they also need time. So like projects will emerge every day. We have like hundreds of projects being minted, rolled out, etc., etc. And I'm really interested in hearing your opinion, guys, on why do you think that we are in the bear market, and how do you see all that develop?
I mean, I'll definitely open that one. I think that's a great point to make as far as the smart market. I mean, in reality, we're just hovering back where we were March when Kong started. That 1,200 to 1,500 level and back and forth. And it kind of already been, a bit of a ride before that. So the point where we're at now is definitely not, we'll say, major blood for, those entry points. But obviously everything in between has been, a roller coaster on its own. So I love the perspective there, because I'm a catastrophist. I love looking at everything from, both sides and trying to take it to the extremes and seeing it. And that's definitely one of those that I can relate to. I think it's interesting that the markets that we're in are, I'll say, so affected by some of the, we'll say, even, recent news that has happened. It's a lot more centralized than I think people want to admit sometimes. And that's, obviously its own can of worms. So I think once we can, education, I think, is really the kind of the core foundation of everything. And like you mentioned, a lot of people rushed in over the last, 12 months even. So it's going to take time. I think, it's kind of all of our duties as, stewards in the space to also push those forward. I know, like, just ourselves personally at Kongs is a big thing on trying to make sure that, not only are, like, we're talking about, what's going on in the markets and alpha and stuff like that, but, of course, like, how to stay safe and how to make sure that, you're doing your due diligence and what matters and why it matters. But yeah, so there's a lot that goes into it, but I like how you put it as a smart market instead. I love that.
Yeah, basically, I still think that we are still not, completely in Web3, because I would say it's Web 2.5, because we are all learning, and like we are all repeating in the spaces. Like we are really, really, really early, and it's time to learn a lot about the space, and we still need to take some practice from Web 2, starting from marketing perspective and how to develop business. Because we see a lot of projects coming in without any business plans. They just think, yeah, I'm gonna launch an NFT project and it's going to be awesome. And I know that the community needs this, and I think that a lot of creators don't actually think about the future. They only think about, like, yeah, we're gonna mint and then we'll see what we're gonna do. So that's why I think like that we are not in the bear market, because it's just market as such. And in comparison with like traditional market, we are pretty much close, I would say, with NFTs, because how I like to explain it to muggles, as I say, normal people, NFTs are just, a tool. It's a layer of technology that you use to get like startup funds for your company. And there's like huge difference between an NFT project and Web3 company. And I think that we are yet to see, these like Web3 companies emerging, especially now in these hard times. Like we saw how Ethereum dropped like in previous few hours, and like how it went up like yesterday. So there's a lot of place for the learning curve. Like just observing, like let's say CyberKongs now. I'm watching at your stats. You have 1,708 NFTs that have been held since the beginning of the mint. So having in mind that you guys have 5,000 NFTs, that's like 34% of people are still in your community, believing in your project, are not going nowhere. They think they know what they're invested in. So that's like a huge thing. But I'm interested in hearing like Dripbit's opinion about this. I'm really, really interested because I know that you have interesting opinion on the bear market.
So I think markets are like, as far as like, all right, how do I phrase this? I don't want to put myself into a box. To me, like a bear market in this space, from what we're seeing now, is we take it as like there's not as much movement as there was because the price drops and all the coins and everything and all these other things that we've seen, all these other black swan type events that have happened in the past few months. People just get this like overall feeling, oh God, nothing's working and we're going to Goblin Town, and like I can understand their like feelings for that, but at the same time, you have this info coming in every day from all these different places for all these different things that are progressing forward. Like we heard about Google and Solana. I know Solana's not doing too good right now, but we hear these other bigger companies trying to come in and do things, and I think if this is a bear, I think I don't think we've seen the bottom of it. And to be honest, I think from a creator's point of view, it just gives more passion and more fire to people who are trying to do something to do something that changes the outlook of the community overall, like to try to give that like positive outlook of like not hope so much, but just more reality of like, look, where we are. Like people make a joke about not being early or being early, but like we are early, and we can continue to build through these times of difficulty. You just have to focus and really take in the difference between what a bear market is and what it may feel like at the time, because we're bouncing up and down and there's a lot of emotions in it. But if you can take the emotions out and step back and look at it as how many creators are coming into the space and how many people are hearing about it and all the things that are happening as far as the technology side, I think there is no bear market. But on the monetary side of watching the coins go up and down and having that those heartstrings pulled on for a lot of people, that can be where some people might see it. But it's like anything else in life, it's all a matter of perception and how you choose to view things, because at the end of the day, it's your choice on how you see something. And if you want to see it in the fact that it's a bear market and it's going down to Goblin Town and blah 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 blah, then that's probably how you see things for everything, and not really indicative of trying to move forward with anything. And it's not really smart if you're a creator, if you're just going to be negative and crappy all the time.
Let's manifest that there's no bear market at all. Joy, you got your hand raised. Please.
Yes. I think this is a very interesting topic and would like to join this discussion earlier. And yeah, I do love your term about like smart market, and also we are in the Web 2.0 instead of Web 3. And I agree that the market economy always has its cycle. It has its ups and downs all the time. So if we don't say like bear market, we say like bear market, but there's always like it will be better. There will be bullish market soon, and we all believe that. That's why we are here. And actually, I feel very positive about it. Because my job is basically talking to projects all day, and it's just fascinating to see like how many people choose to stay in this market. Like they are still here and trying to build up their projects, and they work very hard, and we are adjusting strategically, and we adjust every day to bring up more creative ideas to try to benefit our communities more. And even in this situation, so it's really nice to see how passionate people are even in this situation now. And also, I think it's not just us that concern about the market, and not just us, because I saw some very exciting news in past days about like governments such as South Korea. They are implementing the digital ID for over 50 million population in their country, and this might in the future just like NFT ID for each person, and it can be combined into everyone's daily life, and that has so many like use cases in the short future. And it's very glad to see the government is being very supportive for the Web3 development. And also like Hong Kong is just announced that they are going to build up a crypto city, and they are very pro Web3. I believe that will attract a lot of talents, and also like Singapore. So I believe that there will be like a lot of changes, a lot of like people go to these cities and these like very Web3 supportive governments, and there will be more engagement in Web3 and development over there. And I think the market will get better soon, maybe even faster than we expected.
I love what you just said about Korea, and I called actually this, and I said I invented even the word called countries will NFTize their citizens, and everything will be like in digital assets. So you will have your ID on a blockchain, and it's going to be like I really predict it's going to be huge. Henry, you got your hand raised.
Yeah, I want to take all of you and like put you in like a little ball in my backpack so I can take all of you wherever I go to have this kind of conversation. If I'm like getting coffee, if I'm sitting down for a meal, because like this is a fun, awesome conversation. Like this is a legit conversation. It's so cool to hear people's opinions. I hope people that are listening are enjoying it as much as being somebody who gets to take part in the conversation. So I just want to tell you, thank you for doing this. Yeah, the bear market. I love your take. I love everybody's take on it. Sounds really informed. I'm like I'm such an optimist, almost to a fault at times. I do realize that it's a flaw that like I just always only want to see the good in things. I was in the military. I specifically went into the Coast Guard because I felt like that was like I always wanted to be doing things that I considered to be good, even though maybe there was some questionable shit we did. But I like the goodness in things. So my point to all of that is like, I don't see what we are all doing right now as like just this mad rush for money. I see this thing that is like, it's massive, has literally the potential to change the world in certain ways. Maybe that's utopian, and most people here are like, bro, like Henry, it's cool, but it's not like that cool. Because to me, I'm like, I feel like it's that cool. I think it's like looking at a corded telephone and not realizing that like one day that is going to be the very thing that I'm talking to all of you on in a parking lot at a gas station. But I'm pretty sure you guys are all around the world, and we're doing this on a device that literally 50 years ago, they never thought we'd be doing this. I think that's where we are in Web3. So it's interesting to me. I realize on the degen side, when you're trading and you're sitting on bags, I understand the market sentiment being really, really important. Are we down 1,000? Are we up 100? I understand that. But for the people who are like, yeah, but like I'm in this for the long haul. Some of these projects I think are the very beginnings of some really big things. And some of this tech is the beginning of maybe some life-changing stuff, which that's the category I fall into. The bear market isn't like, oh shit, I lost $2 million. That is somebody's life right now, by the way, no doubt. But to me, it's not. To me, I'm like, maybe to my benefit, I didn't have a ton of money to put in, and I didn't make a ton of money in it. Like I've done okay, I'm not gonna lie, but like not generational wealth. I'm here because I see the people in this space that I'm like, there's some smart people, there's some really cool stuff going on. I happen to have the privilege of being on a team that does some really cool stuff. So like it's a unique perspective, and it makes me insanely bullish when I'm the dumbest person on that team and I see the really smart people like Owl, lead dev of CyberKongs, making two-factor authentication on chain. By the way, most people don't even know that exists. It does. But because it's so new, some of the people in here don't even know that. They're like, if you have an NFT in your wallet and you give out your seed phrase, it's gone. By the way, no, the technology exists and we use it. So like, that's some early stuff that we're in. And that's why, while I recognize some people judge a bear market by the price of Ethereum or Solana or whatever chain you're playing on, I judge it by what are we doing with the tech. I do feel like we're a little stagnant with it right now, if I'm being totally honest. And I feel like we need some new evolutions to help push us, give more use cases for what we call the Web 2 world. Give some more use cases. More people get on board. The more people get on board, the more quote unquote mass adoption we get. I think we're at the beginning of those things. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you, Henry. I really loved how you wrapped all this up, because I remember like last November, December, like when NFTs became mainstream, we're still calling them NFTs, although I said it's like the tech layer. And I remember like everyone went in for the money because, we all want to make some money, and it reminded me on the situation with like shit coins in crypto, and everybody just wanted, like to get a quick buck. And a lot of people actually got an opportunity to get a quick buck, but it's not about that. It's just about what you just said. It's about, people having unique ideas and using this technology, to build something better. And I just 2 days ago we were in one really great space, food for thought, with guys from Funkari, and I said, like, if somebody now, if I had enough funds and somebody put on a plate for me like one Bored Ape, or to invest in like some future ecology project that will clean, I don't know, the sinkholes in the oceans or whatever, I would rather invest in a project with utility that has like, ecology as a topic than in a PFP, because, I can always like flex something, but, the nature and everything around us still deserves a lot of care. And I think that NFTs as such are definitely going to get to the point where utility is not like just staking and spinning in the circle. It's going to be like real life utility, and people are going to start like literally investing in smart stuff. And this is like unique opportunity for all of us, to be investors in our own life and to really own something. And I see Mikey actually from Midlife Crisis here. I've sent you an invite to speak. If you're keen on joining us and have opportunity to speak, please do join in. Drip, your hand is raised.
Yeah, you just said something that I wanted to touch on earlier. I've said it a few times before, but people have definitely come from my head for it. I think a lot of what could project us forward would be like subscription-based NFTs. I hate to say it out loud. Don't kill me. But I think using it for a subscription-based kind of thing might be something that could help us go forward with some stuff as far as like bringing it to the population.
Can you expand on that? Like, what would be some good real life example of a subscription based NFT, and how would that work?
Yes, yeah, I haven't thought that far into it. To be 100% honest, I mean, like when I say subscription, I mean like you used to subscribe to a magazine, so like you'd get like well, I don't know if anybody even does subscribe to magazines anymore, but like you'd get your once a month magazine like Rolling Stone or whatever. Or like people subscribe to, Netflix or whatever, paying like a one-time fee through something like a Netflix, like once a year or something like, along those lines or along those thoughts, I think might be something that could push us forward. As far as like the overall business plan behind it, that would go depending on whatever business you were trying to get into for the model. But as far as like just the idea of a subscription-based NFT, I don't know. I feel like that's something that could grab people's attention because it's, if you're already subscribing to stuff anyway, and then you have an NFT that goes along with it. And you see some stuff like right now with Ryan Carson with the POAPs and, he's doing like if you stack so many POAPs, you get something out of it type of deal. So like, you know, you could kind of like gamify it, or like you make utilities with it that way, where like if you stack so many of a certain subscription, you get like something unique for the year or the month or whatever.
Do you know Pranksy's NFT boxes? Are you familiar with that? Because he does a subscription-based service. I think that's a great, specifically for artists, by the way, Drip Bits. And it's exactly that. And I think it's amazing because what he is doing at least is like a little bit of a roadmap for what somebody could also be doing with like physical art or with NFTs that maybe have a physical art link to it or anything. But yeah, he's doing a subscription-based service like that. It's a great point you bring up.
Thanks. What'd you say his name was again?
Pranksy. Pranksy is like OG.
Yeah, all right. I know Pranksy. Yeah, I know
Pranksy. Yeah,
actually,
check it out.
I may have met you Kongs guys actually last year at Decentralized in Miami.
Yeah. We were there. We had the big gorilla there.
We'll
be down Art Basel in a couple weeks. Mary, can I just say one thing? And then I have to go. And I wish I didn't, but I have 3 kids that I'm going to be home very soon from work.
Of course, man. Of course.
You brought up something that was so cool. Now, whether or not if this situation was put in front of you, I would not begrudge you if you took the Bored Ape over the. I think you were saying like something like with maybe like something with like the environment cleanup, something like that.
Yeah.
And the cool thing about what this tech can do, extract the degen trading, right? That stuff you're talking about. Where like I actually believe like that your heart tells you if you had the option to get a Bored Ape or to invest in something like that you're like, no, it's not just about the money. It's about like, you know, things that can move the world. CK did that, a use case. We donated a percentage of the mint to Virunga National Park in the Congo. They just posted a video like maybe 3 weeks ago, and they used that ETH, which was kind of crowdsourced, if you will, you know, like bunch of people paying for NFTs. They have a hydroelectric dam in the Congo that is powering crypto servers that were paid for by crypto donations. CK was a major part of that. That money they're making from those crypto servers is funding the park while it's closed because there's civil wars going on. So like that's like legitimately crypto communities. That could have been anybody. It was CK, but that can be anybody that is using their project to literally change some real life shit. Like that's literally real life. The Congo, that area of Virunga National Park, it's closed. They didn't have money. They literally set up a sustainable, it's environmentally friendly. It's run off a hydroelectric dam, but a sustainable income while they would have had nothing coming in. So that is what the blockchain, I believe, has the power to do. On top of like, yeah, we're into collectibles, trading, etc. There's some real stuff that can happen, just like you brought up. I think that was so cool that you said that.
And I cannot tell you how grateful as I'm, as an individual, that you've done that, because we definitely need more awareness. And you guys made like that's OG stuff. That's so cool. I cannot even like find the words now to say thank to you guys, because that's amazing. Like that's what this community should be all about. You know, like, man, this just you know, hit me straight to the heart. It's really amazing. Thank you for doing that, guys. Dan, what do you think about this? And then we can slowly switch to the topics of utility and real use cases of NFTs.
Yeah, well, you know, in a bear market, I guess people keep saying, you know, it's not a bear market, or if it is a bear market, it's actually time to build. And I think the reason why is like, it's not, people aren't saying that as like a coping mechanism. It actually makes a lot of sense, because the projects or the companies that are actually providing, you know, real value, some, you know, companies that actually have substance, they're going to thrive the most in this type of market. And it's because they're, you know, whatever they're spending their money on is going to just be much more effective than in a bull market. In a bull market, when things are really frothy, there's so much fluff out there, so much competition in terms of marketing spend, talent spend, that it's really, really hard to get your project to the right users if you have to compete with so many other projects. But in this type of market where you're competing with less competition, your marketing dollars goes more, you're competing for better talent, you're going to win out in the long run in this type of market. So I think right now is the best time to build if you have the funding. And yeah, I think if you're looking at things from a long-term perspective, this is the best time to actually work on the next whatever it is, 3.0, whatever it is.
Thanks, Henry. Get back to your family. Thank you for joining in Vert today. I hope that you're staying with us so we can continue with the chat. It's been a pleasure, Henry, hosting you, really, and I know that we will do this again. That's I think not even questionable now.
Thank you. Seriously, I got some time. Enjoyed the hell out of honestly, thank you so much. I'm gonna find that video because I know that you were not just saying that just to be nice. I know you felt that was a cool thing. So thank you so much. Much love to everybody here, and have an awesome day, night, morning, etc. But I'll find that and I'll link you.
Thanks. I'll try to pin it up now. I'll actually search it before we move on. Inverted. Can you share a little bit about your opinion on the bear?
Yeah, I mean, I think just to hit on my point earlier about I liked how you called it a smart market instead. I think kind of a general consensus is there's always, it's crypto. We are legitimately early. There's going to be volatility. Obviously, from the degenerate side of me, you can't always make the right moves, but you still gotta make moves. So. I think it's a fun time, honestly. You kind of weed people out. You see who's here for the right reasons or for what reasons. It's a community, and I think moving forward is really just the best way to keep going. There's always going to be bumps in the road and things to learn from. We started as a one-man COVID relief project on an OpenSea contract, and now we're here. We were part of Christie's auction to help raise Varunga with 1.2 million. Just everything that has gone on between now and then is just keep working forward regardless of what's going on and stay positive.
Amazing, guys. You Kongs, you rock. Definitely. I'm reading now a tweet from Outland. You said, guys, one day ago, market is down. What keeps you up? And I'd like to hear from you guys. What keeps you up?
We, in our opinion, it is a bear market, and I think Henry mentioned it's almost like 12 months ago when they started, the same is price range volatility, but this time the difference is there's just no liquidity in the market. That's I think that really makes things really hard for every project. Obviously, I totally agree with other speakers' opinion that building is essential right now, and in the long term, still optimistic. But right now, especially what happened the past 48 hours is really damaging for this space, because I think one thing we are all aiming to do is to bring more people into this space. But the things happened this year, like 3AC, Terra, and FTX, really does not help with that intention, because people from outside will view this as a huge scam, or it's just not right to do things this way. But in a way, I think from another perspective, this will bring in compliance and regulation much faster than we expected, than we were expecting before, especially in the NFT space, including NFT space as well, which can, in a way, help the space to grow, but we have to endure this short-term growing pain, which is the bear market itself. But as a art NFT launchpad marketplace editorial platform, our artists are still passionate about this new medium, this new technology that gave us the the belief, the confidence to move forward, even though we have to prepare for what can come next. So in that way, we have to be cautiously optimistic.
Exactly. I love your perspective as well. It's really interesting to hear. We can now slowly roll out to the topic of the utility of the NFTs, and I actually want to revert to one of the Shan's posts. I just have to dig it out fast, but basically the story goes as that utility is something that has been overspoken in the NFT space, and everything is revolving around the utility and what the project is offering. And I'd like to hear your perspective on not about the utilities which are now let's say popular, but the activities that you can see, the utilities that you can see evolving in the future. Dan, can you maybe kick off with this one?
I think what's really interesting, well, you touched upon how NFTs is just a technology layer, and there are so many really interesting use cases that can be used. I think profile pictures, digital art, digital collectibles is like the low-hanging fruit for NFTs. It will take a while to kind of build out what NFTs could be used for. We're already sort of seeing experimentation with it, like with ticketing. Coachella started experimenting with NFTs. I think ticketing is really, really cool. I think even fractionalized real estate ownership is also really cool as well. And so it will take a while for NFTs to be used in these type of contexts, just because in terms of getting people with these traditional mindsets to gravitate towards NFTs, it will take a while. But ticketing, real estate, I think those are both really interesting use cases for NFTs. Soulbound tokens is also really interesting in terms of maybe attaching your college educational certificates as SBTs. I think that's interesting use case for it as well.
It definitely makes sense. Like I was talking with some of my friends, like I think 6 or 7 months ago, and we were talking about real estate and NFTs. And I said, like, I predict it's going to happen in next year or two. And then we just witnessed like the whole house being sold on the blockchain, and that just blew my mind. Like it came much faster than I expected it to come, and it's definitely coming to the big doors, as well as ticketing. Ticketing is going to be huge. I think definitely going to be huge. Drippigs, got any comments on this?
Sorry, my phone was rugging. Sorry, could you phrase the question again? I got a little lost.
Yeah, no problem. I reverted to Sean from Gojira's his tweet actually about the utilities and the real use cases.
Yep. Sorry. So I think with utility, like it was a thing. A lot of different new people that were coming in didn't really understand at the beginning of the whole back at the bull run of the NFTs in the beginning, and then it was kind of like a pop word for a little while, and people were trying to build stuff out to like have utility, but didn't really know what the utility was going to be other than like merchandise. But like Dan was saying, I think the future of what NFT utility can be really has a lot to do with documents, whether it's like legal documents or like deeds to homes, or I think another one a friend of mine is working on right now with Kia actually is bringing serial numbers, VIN numbers for cars to the blockchain, which I think is also something that's going to be huge. I think those kinds of use cases are massive, and I think tapping into them going forward is something that we're going to see a lot going on. I saw just recently that Nissan had filed a bunch of patents for some NFT stuff also. So, I think that these companies are catching on. I think the use cases for the different utilities of NFTs themselves could be massive, especially with being able to store stuff on chain and having, the option to make it immutable. I think, is really massive for a lot of things with documents. And I think that's something we need to consider going forward, is just documenting legal things, whatever that may be, whether it's car records, home records, medical records, legal records, anything, just in general. Those kinds of things I think are going to be massive as far as the future holds for what the use case of them being. As far as like the use case of collections or projects coming out with utilities, I think that's also kind of all over the place. Like I was saying earlier, it could be anything from a video game to an app to merch to any, really it just goes to wherever the creator or the project leads, how big of an imagination they have and what they're trying to do inside of their circle of what they're trying to produce.
Yeah, I was actually thinking a lot about how the quote unquote law and general like documentation is going to look like in the centralized world. And I was thinking a lot about, who's going to be the space police and how's that going to look like, and is it going to be easy to manipulate, and who are those people going to be, et cetera, et cetera. If states takes over, then it's not decentralized anymore, and there's like so many questions to be raised there. But Joy already raised her hand, so floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mary. Yeah, it's just an extension from the South Korea digital ID I just mentioned. So for that, I think it's in the future, the NFT utility is more like it will penetrate into our daily life and becoming part of our daily life. And for people who need to pick up their prescriptions from pharmacy, it will be a lot easier. And for most people, it's just like you don't have to carry the physical ID around. And one of the benefits is that if you enter into the club, then there's you don't have to show your ID ever again, like we have to do right now. So yeah, I think from my perspective, it's like we can of course, like some people would be very skeptical about this because like the government, if once they have all the transactions records and they have all the information about you, like what they can do with all those with all the secrets that you have. And but I think most people might just choose convenience over the sense of security. And yeah, I'm very curious about other people's idea about this. But yeah, this is my perspective about the utility of NFTs in the short future.
Thanks. That actually makes a lot of sense. Outland, got anything to share about it?
Yeah. So currently, we are already using NFT on the utility side. So people who ever bought our NFTs, we have this merch website, merch.outland.art, where on the back end we take snapshots every now and then. So you gain points by holding our NFTs, and you can use those points to redeem physical, say, prints from artists, tickets to their show, allow these opportunities for other projects. So this has been going on for a couple months for us. But in the future, definitely, I think ticketing is a very promising product that can utilize an NFT. I think in the future, people might not even use NFT, the term NFT, because it
Thank you for saying this. Thank you for saying this out loud. Thank you for saying this out loud.
Yeah. I think just people don't think about it. And I mentioned something that's behind that product is utilizing NFT technology is when we can really scale up and have more people using it. Yeah.
Thank you for saying this out loud. We definitely need to start naming them differently, and that's the main point, and that's how I see. And I'm glad that you guys also mentioned a bull run as well. And that was actually my next question. How do you see next bull run, and do you actually see it, and how do you think that it will evolve? But before we continue with that one, I just want to announce that now, well, in next few minutes, there will be a link in the comment section with our first come, first serve Discord link to join and to get the test candidate role. And I also want to mention that we already released our Twitter extension, which you can find in Google Web Store. And you just have to go and type NFT Go. And this should be your basis. Like when you get up in the morning, get your coffee or tea or whatever, you go on Twitter, of course, first because you're going to search information there. But with our extension, you can actually get the basic information about the projects. You can get, like this literally basic research on every project, from their P&Ls, current holdings, from wallets that have been connected, so like individual wallets to projects. And that's something definitely that you should be checking out as soon as possible, because it's really awesome. It's still in beta. So if you have any comments, if you encounter any bugs, please do come to our Discord and share it with us. And yeah, now the question that we are reverting to. So yeah, the link for the first come first serve roles will be posted very soon. And the question was, the next bull run, how do you guys see it? How is it going to happen? Is it going to happen? And what can we expect out of it?
Yeah, I'll pop into that one if you don't mind.
Please do.
And also to hit on the last point about, we'll say, renaming NFTs and, not talking about the technical layer. One of the things I spoke about when I was on a panel at VCon was like the verbiage that we use and how we need to normalize kind of all of it. I think the Reddit stir-up did a great job at bringing the term digital collectible to light. But the concept that we use NFT, wallets, and I mean, we, not that wallet is obviously a complicated one, but just all the different vernacular that we use is a little over the top sometimes. Not that it's not accurate, but let's be real. As far as like marketing, it's not the best way to get adoption rates up. Add more new terms that everybody has to learn. Like nobody really wants to do that. So I think that would be honestly one of the big things to help we'll say, next bull market, in my opinion, would be the normalization of using different vernacular. And I mean, CyberKongs is, as an example, most of the, say, PFP art, they're digital collectibles. We have some on-chain utility, we have some IRL utility, we have some, goodwill utility, and we have art at the same time. So I think the combination of it all will be interesting to see. I mean, because there's always like a couple big projects, we'll say, that end up kind of pushing that envelope with the spotlight and what brings that back in. BAYC is a great example. That was right at the same time that Top Shot Crew transferred over to, we'll say, the OpenSea marketplace rather than what they were doing over there. And it created massive volume. It was a whole new group of people coming into the market that had never really been a part about it too much, and now were, which then, obviously cascading effect, here we are today. So, I mean, personally, just, marketing psychology aside, I think the normalization of terminology will definitely be a good first step.
Definitely. I think that we're still mixing, we have one saying, grandmas and frogs, here where I come from. And like I said at the very, very beginning, education is the first step. And here we are in the space sharing our knowledge. So that would be it in shorts. Dan, how do you see the next bull run? Do you see it at all?
Oh, I mean, bull and bear, I mean, we're constantly in a cycle. And then, if you've been in the crypto space or just, been following finance, everything has to go up and down at some point. And so it's just a matter of, I guess, macroeconomic conditions. In terms of like how I see, I guess, NFTs being a part of the next bull run, probably, we haven't touched upon GameFi and how NFTs is really going to be very impactful in the next generation of gaming. I think gaming assets as NFT collectibles is really, really cool. And I think in whatever shape and form of whatever, the next bull run or the next, big NFT, surge, it will probably be around GameFi or gaming NFTs in some capacity.
Definitely. Web3 gaming is growing rapidly, and this is actually a great opportunity to announce our next Web3 gaming space that will be on Monday 14th. We are bringing some cool guests, but before that, we have another super space on 11th of November, this Friday. So you should just stay with us, because on each space during our campaign, we will be giving first come, first serve testing candidate roles, like I've just mentioned a while ago. But to move on with the topic of the next bull run, Drip, what's your opinion on that one?
I think all things considered, as far as like the economy, like the world economy, everything that's going on, with different world events and watching the markets, I think when the next bull hits, it's going to be more of a focus on the technology side and less of a focus on the 10,000 PFP collectibles. I think people are going to be really interested to see what builders are creating right now, because as we all know, when times are tough in the bear market, people do tend to build a lot more and focus more on the building part than the marketing part. So I think a lot of the stuff that's coming out now will push the next bull whenever it comes. Unfortunately, I don't have a glass ball to tell me when that's going to happen, but I don't think I think discounting this technology or this massive overall crypto community and just discounting it as in like saying it's not going to grow much farther or it's not going to do anything, I think is just a massive massive way of seeing it in the wrong light. I think it's just the way I see it now is, I remember when I was younger, seeing these ads coming out saying the internet was dead, and no one knew what the heck to use it for, and blah blah blah. And then I remember seeing Amazon come out as a bookstore, online bookstore, and then it was starting to fail. And then I remember seeing all these things, and I remember them happening in real time and people watching them and just verbally spewing all over it how it's going to fail. So I think those things are always in the back of my head as to the outside world and the outside things as like the naysayers of whatever the new technology is or whatever the new fad is. I think when people realize the different use cases for this, as we were going back to utility, and realize that you can't throw a can of tomato soup on my piece of artwork because it's on the blockchain. I think that kind of stuff is really what's going to help to drive the next bull whenever it does come about. And I do think it's going to happen eventually, just because, like Dan was saying, if you have any kind of understanding of markets, they always go up and down. So, like, even if you've been here for 6 months, you've seen enough movement to know things go up and down. And if as long as you're able to ride that wave mentally, then build.
Well, actually, you can throw a can of tomato soup on your art. If you followed up devotion from Andrew, then you can definitely, if you have this can, then you can throw some on any NFT. So just joking, of course.
I did see that. Thank you for proving me wrong.
Actually, you can actually do it. Somebody already did it on the blockchain. So yeah, that's definitely a good topic, to discuss about what can you actually do on the blockchain. And there's like numerous things you can do on the blockchain. Joy, what's your opinion on the next bull?
I'm very sorry. I might have to skip this question. I just got some working emails coming in, so I probably need to deal
No
with that
problem.
first.
No problem.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Take your time. Outland.
This might be an unpopular opinion. I think the next bull run has to be when we have crystal clear regulation rules from different authorities about what can be done and what cannot be done, and use those rules to filter out the scammers at an early stage. So right now, I think that's the main reason all those incidents are happening this year. even in NFT space, I think the topic is it a security kind of the staking kind of issue tokens in NFT projects? Like it's a gray area. Every projects are doing different things, trying out different things, doing experiment, innovation, but we need regulation. We need to know what can be done, where the boundaries are. So in that boundary, we can be innovative. We can build new things to get more people into the space.
I definitely agree with everything you said, except that it's unpopular opinion because it's definitely, I think, at least from us who are now here on this panel and to all our listeners, I think it's really important to weed out, all the bad players from the space. And we're actually going to be dealing with those topics in our next two spaces. Actually, on Friday 11th, like I mentioned, there will be another SuperSpace, and the topic will be Web3 social and decentralized identities. And on the next one, like I said, gaming, and then NFT security. So we'll definitely touch those topics as well because they're super, super, super important in terms of like mass adoption and actually us seeing a next bull run. From my perspective, I cannot imagine now having the same bull run we had like previous year in December and February. But I definitely see a strong bull run in terms of builders who will show up, the guys who will actually, create some positive utilities for and some use, NFTs for some legit and good use cases. So that's definitely something that is yet to come. I also like to invite you guys, if you got any questions, we'll slowly open up a panel for you guys as well. But next question would be a metaverse, and how do you guys see metaverse development? Is it going to be our next Second Life? Let's put it like that. Are we going to dehumanize ourselves and just like dive into the metaverse and start living there completely? Or is it going to be something completely different from what I'm saying now? So anyone can kick off with that one? The sound of silence. Drip, metaverse.
I was gonna say I'll jump in. I surely hope that we don't dehumanize ourselves because I think that would be a move in the wrong direction because we are human. We got to keep that into consideration with our emotions and all the things we feel on this planet. But I do think in gaming and everything else, we've already set it up to go there. Like we already have simulations running every day, millions of people playing online games. I think that there's these things going on currently. I think it's just a matter of moving us over to that next step. I mean, we already have VR, we already have PlayStation and Xbox, and we have these crazy games on our computers. And I remember when I was a kid playing Doom to come into Call of Duty. It's like those worlds just by themselves is a metaverse. So like to me, we already are kind of cyborgs in the way that we already are part of this. We already are using our our phones, our computers, our technology every day. We have, some of us have smart homes, or some of us drive Teslas and have smart cars and all this other stuff. So I think we're already in the metaverse. I think we already do live there, but I think it's just integrating this decentralized community to the rest of the world, like giving people the ability to have control of their own everything, have their own keys to do their own thing. I think is what's gonna drive it more, in my opinion.
Yeah, to follow on that real quick, I think a big thing to consider too is that when people talk about the metaverse and how we're going to use NFTs and digital collectibles and how those things happen or why, I think really what people are talking about is how those are going to be used in gaming. Not even necessarily that it's just the metaverse, but that's probably going to be, we'll say, the main onboard system. I mean, because things like Second Life that you brought up earlier, Mary, that had huge upload as far as usage and people and just time sinks. and real money. I remember reading an article back in the day about like the first Second Life millionaire and stuff like that. So I think it's maybe even more about the normalization of those things, like being able to own your own, avatar, your own metaverse gaming skin, whether that's 2D or 3D. When it comes to digital collectibles personally, I think that's a big thing. Like if you have the ability to, and we'll just use a popular, brand, for example, Disney, right? Take Frozen. Like I have two kids, one's 19 and one's 3. So I've kind of seen a little bit of everything over the years in regards to IPs and stuff. But, if you could pay a couple of bucks so your kid can run around as Olaf, like I'm sure you've bought Fortnite skins or something like that in the past. So the realness of it kind of taking even that next step and being, decentralized and being the, kind of boost to what the next market maker is, I think is totally real, totally feasible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with you guys. We are partially already, like our toes are already in the metaverse, I think. And before moving on with this topic, link for our Discord is limited for 24 hours. It has 25 invites and will be posted in the next minute in the comment section. So if you want to join the campaign and become a test candidate, follow the comment section in the next few minutes. Dan, what's your opinion on the metaverse?
I just want to add to what Drip was saying, which is, we're already slowly building there. I think, when people say metaverse, a lot of people think, wow, it's going to be this paradise that you all of a sudden transport yourselves to, and it's going to be completely different from how we're experiencing things. And I don't think that's the case. I think we're slowly building towards this world. And if you think about it, right now, how often do you interact with another person without a screen? We've already spent almost 2 hours communicating with each other through this, through this phone of ours, with, either a picture or a, synonymous name. That's already kind of what the metaverse is, right? And I think, like NFTs allows you to have a little bit more ownership, is a technology layer, like we said. So, we're going to keep on building technology for this metaverse. And this metaverse is just basically, this other life, this second life. And I don't think it's going to, like everything else, is going to be very, very gradual. There's not going to be a huge like light bulb moment. AR, VR needs to get there. I think, VR and AR technology needs to, the one thing that I do think that might kind of spur metaverse development is if the hardware aspects of things gets a little bit more mainstream, and that probably would need to mean that hardware costs need to be a little bit more accessible for the common person. So something that everyday people can obtain and use. I think that's going to maybe allow us to take the next step on joining the metaverse.
Definitely. Outland, as an art-oriented project, I don't know, have you heard about VR All Art and their perspective on the metaverse? Because they're already building something that's presenting the art exhibitions in digital world. Well, we cannot completely call it a metaverse, but they're definitely working on it. And I'd like to hear your perspective on this one as well.
I totally agree with Stan's opinion. Definitely hardware need to be much more advanced and much more easier to use for people to get into those scenarios. But I think metaverse as a general concept, there's not like one universal metaverse. Everybody in the world will be there. I think it can be divided into small different situations. Like say, virtual conference, or even say you're just in a virtual environment to visit your doctor. Those are all part of the metaverse, and also obviously gaming is in that world as well. So I think it's still a very vague concept. There are a lot of things that's already there. We just not name them metaverse. And for artists, I think a lot of artists we work with, they utilize technology, like AI technology, to explore world building, which is a concept that's very pioneering and hot in the art world. So basically, they are using AI technology to set up a world, and by giving certain characters their unique personalities, it evolves as either as a film or a game, and that is some of the projects we are exploring together with the artist.
That's definitely amazing to hear. So now I'll open a panel. If any one of you guys have any questions, please do raise your hand, request to speak, and we'll gladly bring you to the panel. But while we're waiting for your questions, this will actually can be our last question, or maybe it won't be. We will see where it will take us. But what is the future of NFT, guys? How do you see them? Dan, can you kick off with
the future of NFTs? I think we kind of already answered that in various form or fashion. I think NFTs is just basically a technology layer, and so like the future of how we're going to use this technology is really up to us as the builders. And so the limit is just up to our imagination. We've already talked about like any type of digital certificate, whether it's a real estate deed or a educational degree, or even like a certificate of authenticity. Like all of that can be transferred to an NFT. But I mean, that's just one aspect that we could easily grasp within our imagination. But I mean, I honestly don't know. Like, there's so many other things that we could use NFTs for as well. It's just a technology, and yeah, I'm looking forward to what us as builders can use this technology for. Yeah, so I'm just super excited for like what we can use blockchain for in general as well.
Inverted? Tell us something about the future. Do you have a crystal ball maybe that can help us? But inverted crystal ball that can help us to see what's going to happen in the future?
I was just getting her warmed up. I will have to say you got to take everything that I say as the opposite, obviously, due to being inverted. So take that as you will. But no, I think, Dan, I mean, it like drove the nail home. This is NFT as a term, a whole, is literally just a technology layer. It's kind of up to us on what happens with it. I think that there's enough big brands and enough interest from, we'll say, the everyday individual into what it is. And like the way that I always explain it to people is just like, if you could, have digital baseball cards, basketball cards, whatever, and not have to worry about where you left them. Like the same concept applies. And I wish I could remember who it was that explained it to me this way, but I think the idea of ownership is really why we care so much about the physicality of things. And once people can learn to let go of that, the physicality of a baseball card, right? Like you talk about the baseball card and owning it, but like how often are you actually like pulling it out and showing people? Unless they're mega fans or things like that, of course. But like in reality, it's just, it's not really something that happens. People want things that are easier. I mean, let's be real. We're human. We like convenience. So I think all of those thrown on top of it, things that bring convenience, things that bring ease of use, things that, as we'll just say corny and cliche as it is, things that bring value, right? Whether that's through merch drops, as simple as it is. If you align with that artist and that merch is important to you, then that might be the easiest way to see it. At the same time, going all the way to Maybe your favorite yacht club is now using an NFT layer as far as admission, in order to ensure that there are only actually 2 guest passes that you get a year that you give out, or however they want to do that. But I think the adoption rates are going to continue to slowly climb, even if we see tragic news on the day sometimes. But overall, I think future is still very healthy. A digital collectible for NFT is really just like not all digital, or excuse me, not all collectibles are NFTs, etc. But I think that's also important to remember. Like we're working on the PFP and the digital collectible side, whereas there's entire banking, securities, there's financial, there's residential, there's corporate. There's so many, accounting, human resources, medical. There's just so many different applications with a layer like this that some are, don't get me wrong, I think and I'll wrap up here. I know we're going a little bit, but I think we will go through a phase where there are an abundance of NFT or useless NFT layers on services that are, we'll just say, more hype than anything. Like, oh my gosh, we can use NFTs to do this, where in reality, all it does is actually add an extra step. But I'll be interested to see if that actually comes to fruition.
This makes really, really, really a lot of sense. Just to remind all users who just joined our Discord, don't forget to verify yourself, because you first have to verify yourself, and then we can give you the role of test candidate. Let's hear from the Outland guys what you think about the future. How do you see it?
I think we can only comment on the art NFT side. So for us, we envision the future is when large institutions like museums are collecting NFTs, obviously not use NFT name, just blockchain-based art in their collection. It become mainstream acceptable, and it will become part of the art history, is what we think is the future, and it's happening right now. MoMA is exhibiting Rafiq's NFT work right now in New York, which he started last year. And also for us, projects we release, we've been approached by different museums as well. I think this is a really important step, especially for art NFT, and this is the future.
Definitely. As someone who has a background in galleristic, I'm really, really, really looking forward to this, because it's a huge step. It needs to happen, and artists as well have to understand that this is something that's inevitable. And I cannot wait, to see. I love actually what Vito from VR All Art said. You cannot that easily transfer, physical art from one place to another, but with NFTs that just became possible, and it's amazing. It's really amazing, and I'm really, really looking forward to see that. Drip, you're the last one who needs to share their vision on the future.
All right. Well, that's not a big deal or anything. The last one. No, I'm just messing. So, I think overall, like with everything else we've seen, I'm in my lifetime and some of our lifetimes, depending on how old you are, technology comes in and we don't expect it to grow as big as it's going to. But I remember the first cell phone, and I remember the box that it came in and how it sat in the car. And then I remember the first little pocket cell. I remember pagers, I remember all these things, and I remember how they grew into something that mutated into something that transformed into something that evolved into something. And I think that this is the beginning of what we're going to see, something just become part of our daily life. And like a few other people, like Dan had said, and a few others here, we're not even going to know what the term is for the technology behind it. It's just going to be there. I think the idea of what it can do, and the technology of the million different things, of possibilities, is really what's going to keep it all going. And behind the scenes, I don't think the words are going to be used anymore. I don't think that the terms for all the different tech side stuff is going to be used. And I think it's just going to be, part of normal life. Just like you pull out your phone to text someone, I think you're going to pull out your phone to show your ID, or pull out your phone to do whatever. That's, to me, that's where it's going. But just like with everything else, like with video games or with anything else, it all started with one place and it ended up somewhere else. When video games first came out, you weren't buying skins for it on the internet. You were playing it at home by yourself on a console or on a computer. And then all of a sudden, internet came in. Before internet was a thing with video games, nerds like me were using something called tunneling software to connect our systems to the internet to play to other, with other people. So I just think, like I said earlier, not to go on too long, but I do think that the future really lies with just everything, with technology and NFTs. Just the two things are already there. They just need to be combined, and we won't even, in the future, we won't even realize it. We will, but the mass of people won't even understand the technology behind it. It'll just be there. Just like most people don't understand how an app on a phone works. It'll basically be the same thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's actually what Reddit did. Pardon me. In previous period, like they onboarded loads of people who don't even know what they're up to, and I think that's exactly your point. Like people don't even have to understand it. It just have to be user friendly, and it has to have like real life utility, and people will just hop on the train and become part of this. Before I open up the mic for our speaker who is lost on chain and says Insidious is blind inception, I first have to give a huge shout out to all the partners who joined in for our campaign. From CyberConnect, Linktree, Send.Me, I Am Token, Real Mask, Lucky Buy, Slowmiss, Qcoin, Keystone Wallet, Outland, X2Y2, Dotbit, Degen Score, Unofficial MFers, InkDAO, 10K World Cup, Crypto Simeji, Other Side Gangs, Kivami, Diggenheim, Fat Cats DAO, Gojira, Scriptoria, Metaverse, and many, many, many more. I again invite you guys to check the poster on our Twitter, to come to our Discord, use the link that's now in the comment section. It's limited to 25, but nevertheless, you can use the link from our website as well. You will find there everything nicely sorted out for you, and you can find information about our campaign there as well. And now it's time to bring up the Lost on Chain. Like I said, Insidious is blind inception. Please do ask your question and share your thoughts with us, man.
I was actually just joining in the conversation on what you guys were talking prior, which was subject one was metaverse, and the second was the future of NFTs. Well, first off, I want to give props to NFTgo.io. I think you guys were a great platform. Early on, I was kind of using it. I thought it was it was one of those all-inclusive platforms I saw early on that was kind of just free to use for the most part. So shout out to you guys for actually building something that's pretty damn useful out in this space. For the topic on NFTs in the future, I think this simply put, it's the tokenization of everything, right? And I think to be most valuable to the audience in this short period of time is I think as the technology matures, because we're still in a premature state where things are still obviously hinky and we have a lot of technological errors, even though all the tools and necessities in this space are out there, it's there. It's the iteration and shitty code and great code and consistently being developed. I think the best way that everybody, to their own merit and to what their interests, likes, and where they see it's going, instead of always trying to build the next metaverse. And I'm talking to the common folk and the average person out in the space, whether they're just collecting NFTs or enjoying what it is, the culture, whatever it may be, is to cut your little corner out in this area with what you're good at and try to create your own little provenance in this space, whether you do it purely through Twitter or through creating products and or brand through this time. And then as the technology matures, there'll be routes and a way easier to access routes, by the way, to carve your corner out in this industry, because ultimately it's going to be the tokenization of absolutely everything. And as that matures, especially just the idea of smart contracts from the beginning to me was such a turn on, because it's like, come on, like everything's like the reason you own your home is you signed the contract. Like everything you own is ran through these things. Now it's just built through a layer of technology and code. So I find that miraculous and beautiful. So the goal is to always just cut your little corner, or, you don't have to think big in the sense of like, oh, I want to build this next biggest thing. I want to create the next marketplace or whatever it may be. But start small in what you're actually interested in and enjoy, and then watch that unfold into something more into this industry as you build little by little, like little products, whether you want to make a little magazine, whatever it is. And that actually pushes collectively the space forward. And for metaverse, the topic prior, I'll try to keep it somewhat short, is I think we don't really know what it is right now. As in the current state of the market, we don't have a definition of what the metaverse is, aside from the fact that it's as we know, it's using AR and VR experiences in a virtual world, right? And that where it's more immersive. Which there's barrier one, which is the physical and technology and hardware side, and then layer two is where is everyone going to be? And there's so many, even from the early days of Decentraland and crypto voxels, you could see the premature stages of it. But now it's like there's land sales, and how much land really is there, and is there really even a limit to that? And where does the price point match into where? If it flooded into the real economy, does it really make sense? And I love to see how all these, from big to small metaverses, whether it's Meta itself, whether it's Other Side, or whether it's even Decentraland and crypto voxels, like whatever it may be, whether there's a multi-world, I still truly believe that there's going to be a big accrual to the top when it comes to that. Like, it depends on where the attention is going to be, where everyone wants to be at, kind of like how social media is. You could have all the social media apps that work, but you're all, we're all on Twitter now, but I mean, we were all on Instagram and we were all on Facebook, and so it's where we actually would like to spend time. The attention actually accrues, and the economy accrues, whether they create different earning mechanics within there to make it worthwhile, whether it's the gaming mechanics within it that makes it worthwhile. And I just think we don't have a definition yet, and that's kind of the beauty of it, is everyone's kind of carving their own definition of what a metaverse actually is. And as that's being done, I think there's going to be, I hope, some of the native ones that are birthed here are the ones that become the predominant force in the space where everyone wants to kind of rally around. Because that would be more of a beautiful thing than a big boy coming in and eating your lunch, which we obviously kind of expected to an extent. So it'd be cool to see where culture gravitates toward. And I like the fact that we're in the unknown, which is what creates people to come in and create a known. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for letting me up.
No, thank you for sharing your thoughts. You can continue if you want, and if you have any questions for us and for our guests, you can shoot them now. Thank you for such kind words. This really means a lot. Use the invite in the comments, and please do come and become our test candidate, because what NFT Go actually want to do now is to create better product from the people for the people, because we truly believe that we cannot build a product just by referring to ourselves. We need to hear the feedback, and we need to learn what actually market wants to see. And when we're talking about that, I'm gonna spill just teeny weeny alpha with you now, guys, and that's something that we are going to be adding to our new version. It's called a pro trade option, and you're going to love it because you will be able to see so many new things in terms of trades. You will be able even to see it in scatters and in candlesticks as well, and it's going to give you an experience of a pro trader like without any doubts. And that's just teeny weeny alpha. I'm gonna give it to you guys. Like I said, link is in the comment section. There are a few more spots left. Hurry until they are all closed. But anyways, the link is open 24 hours. So be fast enough to join in. We just entered the second hour of our space, and I couldn't be more excited to talk more about the future of NFTs. But I'm sure that our guests are already tired, probably. Some of us are we're all in different time zones, and for some of us, it's already time to sleep. I would just like to hear some final words from our guests. It doesn't have to be about the future of NFTs. It can be about anything that you would like to share with the community which is listening to you at this moment. So maybe again, we can start from you, Dan, as you are our BD, and I'm sure that you have some great words for the community. Oh, sorry, sorry. Before we move on, we have Ninja. Ninja raised his hands. Let's see what Ninja has to say.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this space. Shout out to NFT Co. Couldn't agree more. I wasn't looking at who was speaking, but excellent tool. Really, really appreciative for someone building something that we can use. And it just has an excellent interface. Just real quick, I just want to add one little point. I was listening. I was simultaneously working, so I didn't catch everything. But what was saying about, I just want to say, obviously we've had a meltdown and this brutal bear market these last couple of days. But I want to just add just a little bit of light to maybe those who have or have not been observing, is that I've been in quite a few rooms today, just jumping out, just feeling the sentiment out. I've been in crypto since 2016, so I've seen a lot so far, not obviously everything. And there's just a drastic difference in the rooms, the NFT rooms versus the traditional crypto rooms, which I used to be totally a part of. I mean, the sentiment is almost 180 as far as just the excitement, the understanding that NFTs are still here, that regardless of meltdowns and insolvencies with centralized exchanges and all those little things that little and big things that go with that I mean, everybody is generally very bullish on the technology of NFTs. And just to add to that, because I was in another room where they were starting to tear down NFTs and just say they're all going to zero, which we can arguably say they probably all will, or at least a lot of them will. But there's some things that we have to really pay attention to, is that regardless of how the prices of NFTs and the underlying crypto, like, people still are implementing this technology rapidly. I had a call from the national director of a huge organization that does award shows here in Los Angeles, that I've spoken at their conventions, and they called me and said, "Hey, we want to do a AR installation celebrating these celebrities with an NFT as a gift bag technology. So instead of people getting physical gift bags, they're going to get NFTs." And I was blown away. I'm like, hold on, y'all calling me for this? So I just want to encourage everyone that if y'all don't know already, like, regardless of what happens, the interest for brands and players, regardless of how you feel about them, and entities to wanting to enter into this space is astounding. And they're looking at the headlines, of course, and they're still saying, well, we still want to get in and get in from a utility aspect, from a provenance aspect, from an aspect of literally that the ERC 721 literally says in the description that it is a title, it is a deed. And so like, that can't be I can't underscore that enough, that regardless of what's going on in the market, I'm super excited about just NFTs in general. And I'm not trying to be hyper or toxic positivity, but like, there's some real opportunities in the market right now as we see what's going on, for just we're to wash out all the drama, wash out all the BS, and really establish a strong community, a stronger communities within the NFTs and beyond.
Listen, there's never enough of toxic positivity, and what you just shared is really amazing. And thank you for sharing your thoughts. Yeah. It's like, we actually miss a lot of positive stuff in the communities now. And I just want to revert on what you just said, like what happened in previous 48 hours. We're fully aware that a lot of people lost a lot of assets, and I just want to say, take a deep breath. You only live once. I know this sounds cringe, but you actually do. And when investing, the most important thing you have to understand is be prepared to lose it, because it's investment and market is volatile, and you have to be aware that anything can happen. And what happened in previous 48 hours is really, really awful to a lot of people. So just take care of yourself, spend time with your loved ones, go out for a walk, take your pet out and spend some time with yourself before, doing anything that you will regret eventually. So thank you for reverting for this, because, there's never enough positive energy in the space. Lost in Chain, you wanted to say something before our closing words?
Yeah, I'll talk a little closing. Point one would be, if anyone lost money through that FTX hack or any other way through this time, I apologize. As just a little, I'm just a little peanut in the community, right? But I apologize for that, and it just goes to show how some people that we could look up to and are actually, there's real pieces of shit out there in the space, and which is why I want people to really hone in and create your own little corner, because you guys are the ones that we need at all different levels to stand out and become the people that uh, are the face of our community, right? I like to be a little more low key, but I mean, everyone has their like take, right? And I know plenty of people would love that. And I hope that you get to continue to carve your corner and then show that there are great people here. And if you actually lost tons of money or even your entire life savings in any kinds of incidents throughout this, especially this past 2 years, I wish you peace. And I hope that I know no one could really understand the pain unless they're going through it themselves. But just know that there's obviously going to be plenty of people that have experienced that, and you're not alone. And reach out to people, talk to people. Don't be afraid of it, because people lose money in every different way, whether they invest with their best friend because they wanted to start a small business or something cool, who knows, right? Like, people lose money all the time, but in this particular space, it seems like you really just the trust is betrayed so easily, especially with these, like myself, right, a non-docs like BFP, and like leading the charge for something. So when you see that, I hope and I wish you the absolute best, and just know that uh, there's always people out there in the space that are actually good, and the majority of the space is actually good, and it's just the small minority that are bad are just really fucking bad, and they happen to be really fucking loud, and they just happen to be able to push that narrative further. And I want you to kind of close your ears and just enjoy the things that you have and just create. And I think that really helps in downtimes, in any kind of downtime. If you could just create and cultivate little stuff that you enjoy personally, not what everyone else enjoys, what you enjoy first, and then try to create your corner in this space. It'll make you feel better, and it's not going to be something dramatic overnight. Whether you have a job and you come home, and whether you're working on a dog treat or a who knows, like a board game, whatever you're in, like messing around with, those kinds of things. And then you can layer on the next, like, ooh, how can I bring it into this world in a way that, is small, but like strong, and then just continuously merge off of that. So I hope that would be my second point, just to keep like creating and carving out your corner. And third is just shout out NFT Go, that IO. You guys, I remember stumbling upon you guys a while back and just like using it. I'm like, whoa, whale wallet watching. Like, this is really cool stuff that we always thought the people who were better traders and ahead were able to kind of only have that kind of info on. So I love that you guys created a very open-ended SaaS product. I'm not, to be honest, I'm not super well versed. I just used it at the time. Like, I looked into it and it was fun. So to be able to do that and bring it out there and pretty much make it free, and it was just really awesome to see. And I hope that no one else gets you guys down, and you guys just keep building out what you're doing and keep building and keep creating great things that people will actually use and play with. So kudos, guys, and sending love to everyone.
Thanks. Thank you a lot. Really, it means a lot. Ninja, you got your hand raised, and then we'll slowly wrap it up with the final thoughts.
Yeah, real quick, I just wanted to echo what Lost Unchained was saying. Man, he articulated just so well about finding your place here. And I just want to encourage just to add on to that. Like, one thing I was realizing as I was trying to find my place here in Web3 specifically, even though I've been trading for quite some time, is like, where do I belong? And like, don't be afraid of Web2, and don't be afraid of utilizing your Web2 gifts and talents and applying them directly to Web3. Don't worry about what people say and how they may judge you, or or the ethos and there is no set ethos yet. Nothing is set yet. Nothing is set in stone. There's no set rules. Somebody doesn't run it. There's just do not listen to the other people. Do what makes your heart. If you Lost and Change, you want to make a dog treat, if you want to bring something over from Web 2 and they say, well, that's too Web 2, don't listen to that, because I found quite a bit of traction and success leveraging a lot of the Web 2 gifts and talents I have into Web 3 and vice versa. And that what he's saying about building your little corner of provenance, man, that is some great advice. I just wanted to echo that, because that's some of the best advice. It's actually confirming a lot of what I've been moving more into. And so I personally really appreciate that, Lost Unchained. It's like cementing what I was kind of thinking a lot about, but then like you articulated it so well. So thank you. I really received a lot from that.
Thank you, Ninja. Yeah, I really have a lot of love for the people out here, and I've seen you before too, Ninja, in other spaces, I believe. But ultimately, yeah, I mean that's really what it is. I don't want people to over like think and like, like I'm Elon Musk, because the vast majority are not. Like, breaking news, you're not. The vast majority isn't, at least. So if you find that corner, like if you have a dog tree, right, then you could get in with people in this space. Whether it's like I see Randy down, like get in with people and say, hey. Um, I want to find out how I could make this into something where we could be here. And then you start getting everybody's opinions, right? Everyone loves to share their opinions on this particular way. Or here's one way, here's one way. And just iterate on a dog treat concept. And then whether you create pets.com and miserably fail, or whether you create a Chewy that comes out later and does well, like whatever it decides to iterate to, it starts with that little thing that you're just messing around with. It's a lot of times it's those inventions that do well for a lot of people. Most of the times I always create little things all the time, like products, stuff like that, and I fail a lot, and then I've had the few times where it works and it really works, right? So I just hope that everyone could kind of fall into that, because that also just feeds into their creative side of their brain, and it just makes them happier, or at least sane, especially through dark times. So when you're just sitting there staring at markets, charts, and you don't really have you're not like a trader and have a ton of liquidity to deploy, and like you're not doing all these crazy maneuvers around the market. That's not you don't have that kind of cash stockpile, which the majority don't, and it's only gotten worse, right? So if you don't have that, then find what you do have and then work from there. And whether you're literally just selling the product itself, right, just complete Web 2 stuff, because Web 3 is not even defined yet. Like, it's not. Like, we're all defining it along the way, and then you don't have to be first on everything, right? Because that phase already came through with NFTs. So now it becomes, where can I create my thing, and where can this technology, maybe it needs to mature further for a way that you just click right in and you're already ready to go, where everyone's trying to play catch up, right? So you can already be kind of ready because you're already here. You could incubate on ideas, and then you could really go with what you're doing. So I just hope that that's like actually useful for the short time that I'm speaking here, to just I hope I could just spark one person to be like, oh yeah, maybe I could do this, and go do it. So if that's the case, that's awesome to me, right? Because some people are just listening down there and just alone thinking about stuff, saying this all fuck, this is all bullshit, or I lost money, whatever it is. So sometimes it's a little ray of hope, or a little bit of a light bulb, right?
Exactly. The only way to the success is, being able to fail. When you get down, you always can get up. So thank you for sharing these kind thoughts. And now we really have to wrap it up. There's another space on Friday as well. I encourage you guys to join in as well. Final thoughts, starting from Dan, the great man.
Just want to say thank you, everybody, for participating. We at NFT Go really appreciate everyone's support. I guess my final thoughts on everything is, we are, our bread and butter is in analytics, and some of the data that we've been seeing is that NFTs are really here to stay. And the reason why I say this is because we've been seeing so many large, S&P 500, internationally large companies innovating or trying to be a part of Web3, and they're investing a lot of resources into developing their NFT or Web3 aspect of their business. In light of what's going on in the past 24 hours, like there's so much there's so much resources invested into NFTs and Web3 by really, really large influential companies that I really don't see NFTs really going anywhere anytime soon. So if you have any doubts about where we're going to be in the future, I don't know what the future lies, but I know we're all building towards something that is here to stay, for sure.
Thanks, Dan. Really, really, really appreciate it. Outland, let's hear from you. Some final thoughts.
I think the future is promising. It's a hard time right now for everyone to adjust, but I think at the end of the day, collecting is in everyone's dream, and as human being, I think we all tend to form a group and collect things we like. So the priority is to have fun, but stay safe and have fun. Yeah.
Exactly. Have fun. The most important thing. At the end of the day, it's important to have fun in everything you do. Thank you for sharing this. Inverted, floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to thank everybody for you for running this, everybody for showing up, everybody for listening. It's a lot of time, and time is like the real asset that everybody has. I mean, so everybody kind of hit on it. We're here to stay, and we're not going anywhere. This is just the beginning.
Mic drop. You said everything. Thanks. Drip, time for you to wrap it up.
First of all, just let me say thank you for everyone being here, and thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be up on stage with some intelligent people who have good insight on things. So thank you for that. And I think just overall, I just want to say I think the future is really bright, like everyone else was saying. I think we have growing pains to deal with, and I think where we end up is going to be much different than where we began. And I think the ride is really what makes it the most fun. And just on a side note, to everybody out there, whether you're doing good or bad, just try to stay positive. Try to love your neighbor. Try to be kind to everybody. I know it's not always easy. I know sometimes we want to snap or get quick to whip, but in times like this, it's important to come together and support each other. And might as lame as this might sound, if anyone's ever having a hard time with anything or dealing with anything, with all this stuff going on, my DMs are open, and I've been through a lot of things in my life. So feel free to hit me up if you just need someone to vent to. Because even though I may be busy all the time, I always have a minute to just talk to someone in the community who's having a hard time. And again, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Drip. That's really kind of you. And I'll just revert to what I said previously. We are here for you. We listen you, and like Drip just said, if you're having any hard times, you can come also to our server, chill out with us. We talk about different stuff. We talk about life. We talk about analytics. We talk about NFTs, of course, but we support each other. And today we actually had really, really constructive discussions about what is going on and what should we do, what are the next steps, and giving support to different people who joined in on our server. Thank you all. I think this was the longest space that we hosted so far, 2 hours and 30 minutes, which is really amazing. I hope that all of you guys had fun, same as I have. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for coming for the spaces. Really huge shout out to our guests. Unfortunately, Joy had to drop out. I understand her. Job is on the first place as well. A huge shout out to all of our partners who joined our campaign. If you love analytics, if you're first time here in this space and you do not understand analytics, come to nftgo.io, scroll down to our research section, read our articles, learn something new. Always be free, to ask any questions in our server. There are no stupid questions. The only questions that are stupid are the ones who are never asked. So please do ask anything that's on your mind, or just share your opinion. Go to nftgo.io for your daily dose of analytics. Create your watch list, follow your favorite projects, NFTs, wallets, and learn more about the NFT world as such. Talk to you guys on Wednesday once more. Thank you all of us. Thank all of you for tuning in. Really, really, really huge shout out to our guests who stayed with us through all these hard times for previous 2.5 hours. And on this Friday, we will be talking about, like I said, Web3 socials and decentralized identities. Space time will be the same as this one, so 8 p.m. EST and 5 p.m. PST. Tune in. There will be more openings for test candidate roles. And don't forget that we also have BUSD giveaway on our link tree. Go on the link and check it out. Once more, thank you all, guys, and talk to you soon. Good night and have a nice day.
Good night, everyone. We love you.
And we really do.